कुछ टाइम वेट करते हैं। बाकी लोग ज्वाइन करेंगे। Okay, so let's start, or let's wait for next 2 minutes maximum. We'll start at 1:35. So last class we have studied what is uh, the process of a organizations of a scientific paper. So before publishing a scientific paper, we have to read the paper. So become a good writer, you have to become a good reader. So how to become a good reader, we discussed in last class. So today we will discuss how to become a good writer. So what are different parts of this scientific paper that you have to mainly focus. So is my screen is visible to all of you? Okay. So just revise the yesterday class. To become a good reader, you must focus on the topic of interest of your subject. Then before going to in-depth reading, you have to be read the abstract and the conclusion part, and mostly the introduction sections. So while reading a paper, you have to analyze and be to be read as a criticize or at a critic. To you have to become a criticism as and as evaluator. So whenever you read a scientific paper, so always try to criticize and evaluate this paper according to your own, and do not just blindly trust the outcomes and results without evaluating of your own. So you have to become a good reader to criticize and evaluate that paper. So that is the last part we have already discussed. Today we will discuss the organizations apart from the IMARD. We have discussed the IMARD introductions, then experimental method, are the result analysis and discussions. So these are the mainly body part of your research paper. This is see here, this one. Okay, this one, introductions, methods, analysis, result discussion. These are the main body part of your research paper. So to going in details, apart from this body part of the research paper, there are some other things are also there. So what are the things? They are first, whenever you see the research paper, you have to highlight it on bold letter. It is written as the research title. Apart from the research title, you have given some author's name and affiliations, email, keywords, and so many things are there. So let's start with the title of the paper. So what is the title and how can we start with the title? So the title is the main focus or attractions of the any kind of scientific paper, where it can be given information about the paper or about your research articles. What does it contains insights? So it is the highlight sections that is called title. So we already discussed on in our previous classes how to write a suitable title of a research paper. So for writing a suitable title, there are some restrictions are there. What are the restrictions? uh, the title should not be a complete sentence. It should not contains any auxiliary verb. All are the main things that are to be noticed whenever we are writing a title, or be keep in mind. And it should be a phrase, and the title is some catch. You have to make a title with some three or at least four keywords which has been mostly used in the article or research paper or research. So these are the things we already discussed. So title tells what the paper is about, or which is the main thing which is the whole research paper is all about. Then introduce your work. That means whenever some reader is reading your research articles, then it gives hints what is the research work in it is will be displayed, or what will be the in details in your work. Then before going to read in details your research paper, someone is going to read only the article. So article should be the first eye view or first impression of your research paper. So article should not be like a clumsy, or it should not be like it is on do not understandable. So it is very good and clear, and even it is a first impression notice of a readers. So articles is the very important part of your research paper. So while choosing your research title or this title, you have to be keep in mind that these articles are mostly attractive when the articles or title is very good. So it how title also tells how do you evaluate a titles and characterizations of good titles. You already discussed these things, so we can skip it. So what are the characteristics of good title? We discuss that one. Title should be short. It is a very specific. It should not be a long sentence like it is not the abstract. So it is truly represent the contents. It is a small phrase like a small short phrase which represents your content, and it might be protective of a controversial, ask a questions, make a statement and conclusion. All these things you have to give a focus while making a or while constructing a title. And in the title you should avoid qualifiers, jargons, abbreviation, filters, etc. You should not be use some abbreviations work, some exclamatory marks or some questions marks or some types of suspense things in the title. So that should be avoided in that case. So after the title, the next things main thing is authors or applications or authors or who are the main contributors of your research paper. So who is the main contributor mainly? Main contributor of research papers are the who first we have keep in mind that who is the doing the research, who did the research already. That research if you are writing a research paper, then who did the research of the paper, then who wrote this research paper or who wrote this, or who are the persons who have contributed or collaborated for the outcomes and results, and apart beginning from the writing to the hypothesizing to the supervising, all the things you have to include in the authors. Then who are the authors, why are authors are important, who should write the paper. These are the things we have to keep in mind while choosing the author. You should not give any name as a author because of you he is your friend or he is your relative or he is your having some things that can be borrow money from some others. Because of that you just write the name of him name as a author. So these are not acceptable. So who should be the author list, how many, the numbers of authors are also there are in some paper there are two authors, some paper there are five authors. So this is also important, numbers of authors, how many authors are there. Then what are the authors order, first author, second author and the corresponding authors. So first author means the author who is having mostly or significantly contributed for the research paper. Then after the second author, third author, that means the authors the contribution is gradually decreases, and at last the author who is mainly correspondence to the for communication for the publication of the articles research paper, that is called as corresponding author. And you also mention what are the role of each author, because in some journals you have to mention what are the role of authors in a special separate part. Then after that whenever you now in this phase you are just writing, you are just writing a research paper. So at that time we already discussed that if you before writing you should read the research paper. So while reading if you remember that the evaluation part is the most important. So whenever you write the write already written your title, then just again re-evaluate the title whether it is tells the papers correct or your research in correct form or not, or does it overstate the contents. Sometimes we are just repeatedly use some things or that might not be able to describe the whole content of your research paper like that. So it allows two blend or entire readers, blend for entire readers. That means that title should be a very long, or it should not be contains or the catch all readers, because there are different kinds of readers are there. So because of their own interest they can go into deep of your research paper for reading. So it is too cute or it is too short or it does not mislead or not, because you are telling something in your title, but whenever the readers read inside your paper, it is not exactly reflect whatever you did the research in your title. That should not be so. You have to evaluate your title before going to final publications. Then gone to authors, that are the already discussed. So importance of the authors, because it is the contributed part of the persons who are mostly contribute the to from the written work to the main research paper, like it is not or into authority, expertise, experience, etc. This is example. Where was the work done, that is the main thing. And the creativity, generality, assessing, evaluating paper and negative result, all the things all should be mentioned in this page. Then controversies. Who should be an author? Number of authors, orders. Because if in some cases it has been noticed that there are more than two, three, and four authors are there. In that case, there should be a equal contributions or some unequal even distributions of how much work they have been did there at that time. So in that case, you have some conflict among the authors, as that who are the who can become the first author, who will become the second author, all like that. Uh, so okay, then conflicts should not be conflict between any authors. And lastly, uh, every stage to evaluate the authors, whether this paper suffers from the lack of input, guidance, expertise, all these things. So be concise with your authors. And then come to mini, ultra mini, abstract. What is abstract? Abstract is the short form, or it is the short details about your whole research paper. But some cases you have to ask to write ultra mini extract. So what is ultra mini extract? That is the essence of your study that takes home or message. That means it is a short form or short form of your extract, that is called ultra mini extract. So if the reader interested, then alternate start, because it is not compulsory. In some papers it is given some highlight in the form of highlight or ultra mini extract, or some options are there. So for ultra mini extract, it is a skimming tool, and means before going in detail study, some highlighted portions are one or two sentence that may be written in ultra mini extract, that are written by the that are read by the readers, and they can scheme whether this paper is very much important for the research or not. So these are somehow uh, some one two three sentence that can be clearly written, and it is a best projections of your roadmap or your details of the contents. That means mostly one to three sentence within 50 words, but abstract is up to 150 words it will be written. So this ultra mini extract is not compulsory for all authors, for all papers. So every case things like in after written the your ultra mini extract, just evaluate again yourself, that is whether it is analogous to evaluator pitch or a business, or it is a summary of your proposed result, whether it is a concurrent or conclusion abstract, or it is a paper, or it is hard work or not, it often done poorly or not. So you have to just evaluate a uh, yourself whether it is done very good or not. So this is the steps you have to follow while write a good research paper or good scientific paper. So next come to next I mean the important part, that is called abstract. So abstract, should I read the article or not? This can be decided after reading the abstract of this particular article, because abstract is up to 150 words short paragraph, which can be written after your authors and title page. title in the main title page after the your author sections. So extract is the after reading your research title, someone is interested for going in deep of reading of those articles. But before going to read about 8 to 10 pages of your articles, his or she should read the abstract of your research paper, because it contains overall summary and whatever may be the your research interest, research content, that some sort of information is given in extract. So what does it tells? Meeting abstract, that is purpose to get an program. That means the paper abstract. These are the different type of extract whenever you are given or you are writing some research paper. The in case of paper, meeting abstract is a something when we are going to it is not in time for write a research paper, but whenever you are did some meeting or some communication, scientific communication type things, so you are just write some one or two paragraphs that complete details about your meeting or your program to purpose, that is called meeting extract. We do not focus on that. So for paper writing a paper extracts will summarize the informations of the data contained in more complete form, that is IMARD aspect of your manuscript. That means whatever in details you are written in IMARD, that is introduction to the from introduction to discussion, result discussion and conclusion section, some informations, all the informations can be summarized in a short form in the abstract. So that states also conclusions or bottom line in last sentence of abstract, that also gives one summary or overall conclusions of the paper. It gives a cell content and two items read after articles, because this is a second item. What is the first item? Your research title. After research title, someone have to interest in your topic, then it have to read your abstract. That is the second item to read. So that is very much important for writing your research paper. So for written a good research paper, you should focus and write your abstract in a very good manner. So for the most reader, reading selectively the and strategically, the skim first line of understand the problem address and skim the last line for conclusions. This is the because we are in a very hurry mood, so often we are cannot read whole abstract also. But the first line of extract and the last line of extract, that is the main part of the conclusions or the main reading sentence, that minimum two lines should be very catchy and you have to read in a write in a good fascinating manner that can be attract the readers. So no sense of concluding by merely again summarizing results have been already in summarized. That means the extract or the conclusion, both are two different things. In abstract is the whole summary from introductions and to material method to result discussion, data analysis, all the things that is present in the abstract sections. But the conclusion which is present in the last part of your research paper, that not be equal to your abstract. In conclusions, only your result and the conclusion part will be highlighted, but in abstract whole research papers will be highlighted. That is the important thing. So should not be same if the extract or conclusion. If you are writing same thing in extract and conclusion, that is there is no sense for writing this paper this type of things. Then after written, after you have write the abstract, then again before going to submit or before going to finalize, you have to again evaluate your written abstract. So how you have to evaluate? It is not structure, read the structure, fashions, all the things. But you have to read, and after reading, you have to read the abstract to other persons, your colleagues, and find out the shortcomings which is mostly addressed again before going to submit your paper. So are the purpose clearly stated? They have to the evaluation stages, and ask yourself for the evaluation purpose whether your abstract is written good or not. Do conclusions match one to one purposes of the study? Do methods clearly tell the study of the group which gives, this is for examples, animal, patent, patients, anything. So for your research, whatever your research may do, this the methods clearly specify your method of studies. Is there supporting data for the purpose or conclusions or not? If you are preparing some data or tables, but if it is not clearly written, so you may provide the extra or supporting data in the form of supplementary information, or that should not be part of the research paper, but it should be additionally given to the journal for the publications. After abstract, the most important part, that is the body of the research paper, start from the introduction sections. So what are the things you have to write in introduction sections? And after writing introduction section, you have to again evaluate as a reader. That is the most important thing. So if someone is interested to read your research paper, then after reading the abstract, the first things that in details he will going to study, that is the introduction sections. So in introduction sections, you have to write the things, that is what I like, what I hate, what should be it accompanies, all the things, all generalities, what are the main background informations, what is you have did or what methods, all the things, it is the writing, everything is written in the introduction sections. What is the problem, why is it important, what is its approach, everything in details you have to write in introduction sections. So the four short segments of introduction sections, that are, first you have to describe about your problem statement in clear, because in there is a first chance given to the reader to clarify your questions in details with a sentence or full sentence manner, because in article, sorry, in title and in extract, you have to just write, you have to not given a chance to elaborate your research questions. So here in first paragraph of your introduction sections, you have given a chance to the reader to elaborate your research questions, and why you are choosing the research questions, and how does is the field, or how does your research questions is related to the review of literatures, all the things, the research, meaning the research gave everything which is related to your research statement and your previous literature review, all the things should be clearly written in, have to be right in the introduction sections. Again you have to focus second point, that is why it is important, that means why your research is important and your research is unique. What is the uniqueness of your research? You did in the field of a particular field or particular topic, you choose a title, so why it is important from the others? You have to also make some points here, clarify the points. What it context, it is also explained in introduction section, which context or which context you have to do the research, whether you have to prove the previous literature review is not adequate, or you have to prove that your research uh, having higher efficiency of removal of pollutions, or having higher parameters than the previous literature, or whether the address, you have to address some new methods. Whatever the context you are going to write, or you are going to read the going to write in, to why you choose the research topics, and in this context, that you have to elaborate in introduction sections, because introduction sections you can include these things. The next is purpose of the study. Set the complete roadmap, means here how do you do the research in details, your plan and purpose, what is your main focus to do the research. If you are eliminate some research previous methods, or we will eliminate some, or extract some new things, or making some new things, or having higher efficiency of removal of pollutions, or making a new technology, that the purpose, or that may be applicable in futures for different purposes. So you have to elaborate in detail the purpose of the studies, that should be in order with the different rest of the paper, means it is how it is different from the others. What readers read, see, if you are write some introduction sections, 2 pages of introduction sections, so there are 4 paragraphs or 5 paragraphs in the introduction sections. So as a reader, the first two sentence of the introduction section is very much important, and the last two sentence, I may say that not two sentence, the first paragraph and the last paragraph of the introduction section, you have to make small paragraph of introduction sections in which is very much catchy and very much fascinating madam, that it can be making a great interest to the readers, and the last paragraph of introduction sections that you also mostly read by the authors who is having interest to read your yeah, paper. So this is some illustration that it is some examples given. We are not going in details. So alternative first sentence. See, this is the, if the first sentence of the introduction sections where you can given some information which is very much good in things. For examples, if you are writing some a story, have you even read a story before? So what is the first sentence of your story? In a storybook, if you are if you read a storybook, the first sentence of the storybook start with a clearly catchy words like say, once upon a time there was a king. So this type of things, this type of wording must be used in your introduction section, because the your or your research paper is going to read by the most researchers and readers whenever you started the instruction sections with a very clear manner, and that is a very fascinating manner. So you have the alternative sentence, so you have to make some generalization that your research is why important and why you are choosing that paper. So this kind of sentence you can be used for that. So yeah, discovering all the cells ironing, which is the cells of the transform. This is one examples of the first sentence. So see, in this type of sentence you can use in your scientific paper, so that can readers can be attractive, and you can read your research paper. So after written 4 5 paragraphs, or you have, whenever you complete the introduction sections, it is not complete your task. What is your task then? You again evaluate yourself whatever you have written in your introduction sections. So in the stage of evaluation, you have asked these type of sort of questions yourself in order to make your written or read. You have to make your whatever you have write that is perfect or not. So questions are the, what does it rapidly tell me where the paper is headed, or can it be better focused, boiled or distills. So these are the things, or can be changes. So there are some English languages also that can impact for the readers of this paper. For example, this is written as boil or distills, that is make a case or it's said, or are you talking people or animal, are purpose clearly laid, and does it authors allow in the map or not. So all these things, it is actually case specific according to your idea, according to your research thing. You have to reevaluate these things clearly. Then in introductions, when you are complete those introduction sections, then next is called materials and methods. So in materials and method sections, you have to focus what does, what who how was the study done, and should I believe this study or not, or what are the material used for these things, and what are the methods used. So for that you have to see these points. For selective and strategic readers, you have to write in such a way that the reader rarely read the entirety of her article, because in these materials and method sections are actually normal things, because we are purchasing this chemical from where, and this is purity of chemical is this, so we using Winkler's method for this, because these are already discussed, already known by the readers or scientific community. So rarely these material method are focused by the readers, it is just kept by so many readers. So assume this section has been vetted and peer reviewed process. So this is the things we can do not focus very much in materials and methods, but we have to write in our a new way, that this can be also a very good in is after reading this material and methods. So for reviewers, inequalities often identified. So for reviewers means whenever you put your research paper in a articles and when it is under review, so they are going to read, not the common audience are going to read these sections. Clear? For science, this study is valid, it is replicable or not, or this and some sort of things you have to write in here. So if patients, for examples, if you are right for a particular type of your conclusion of your research paper, so in that case, what happen? You have to focus that uh, whether it is that is examples, for example, it is what was done, where it is done, time frame, context, inclusion, what are the exclusions, how many sort diagrams are there, concept diagrams are, characteristics of the patient. Therefore one examples in our cases, when we are that reading write a research paper of our or some case studies or some research findings, we must include material used, where you purchase the materials. Then if you are doing a particular uh, what we call geographical study, then where sampling of the materials, where you do exact sampling, what are the sampling sites, ideal locations, its coordinates, a map showing that we are doing the sampling for here, means where, or a time frame, whether it is in the rainy seasons, after rainy seasons, or in the month of December, all the details, samplings and data collection method details are written in these materials and methods concept. So this is the concept flow diagrams. It is can be used for basically some types of different types of analysis or different types of research. So we should not go in details for that. Then these interventions are there in details, and study protocols are also you have to write whether what are the step by step materials and method you have to use. So you have to write in details this protocol or the that we are called the SOP. If you are do some kind of diesel oxygen content in the water, so you have to write what methods you have to use and what are the procedures for that you have to use. So all are written in material method methods. So endpoints, you have to focus endpoints that is defined all in case of all mortality or some cases. That for examples, it is not clear. So if patient, for the example, is patient follow-up, passive or active, systematic. This is for examples. In our cases, it is different. Then data analysis. If you are in materials method, you also detailsly give what are the methods or what are the analysis methods of your data collections. After collection of data, whether you are using some kinds of what kinds of analysis. If you are using different types of analysis method, then you have to keep in details. So you have to write all the things here. Organize the accordingly purpose of studies, provides details, reference, technical technology. If you are using some instrument, mostly for example, if you are using some instrument that is BOD incubator or some for example for weighing, some weighing balance you are going to use, or for FTIR or any UV spectrometer you are going to use for this your research studies, then in that case you are going to, you have to write here that all details of your instrument, even if who is making of the, who is the maker of the instrument, as well as what are the details, what is the precisions, what is the error. If you are going to use some thermometer also, you have to write the degree of precision, degree of error, and the theoretical accuracy. All the things should be maintained with proper references. If you are using some methods, then use that reference of sections, use that or cite the proper methods where you are taking the references. So but does not leave these loopholes. What are the, you have to not avoid, have to not to make mistakes that are most common error is not listing variable considered of the analysis. So what are the variables? What that variables, that means the parameters which you are going to be tested in your research, during your research. So for example, you are doing water research, water pollution research. So the BOD, COD, pH, alkalinity, turbidity, any everything. You should mention the methods as well as the unit or as well as its total variability. So whenever you have to write all these things in materials and method sections. Then format of summary, statistic, confidence level, limit, all special feature or presentations. These are also whenever you are going to write in, you have to write in these things in the material method sections. If you are using some statistical tools like a t-test, f-test, we have to going to read in 4 unit of our this study. So if you are going to formulate some hypothesis, and this hypothesis can be tested using different types of statistical tools and confidence limits. Confidence means whether you are telling that it's a 95 level of 95% confidence, or 90 to 90% of confidence, or 99% of confidence level. All the things of your statistical analysis tools are have to mention here in the material and method sections. So once you have done with your material method section, if you are written your material sections, then you have to again re-evaluate your writing. What are the things you have to make? You have to reevaluate. A checklist is valuable of authors, evaluators and readers. Checklist, that means you have to make some checklist that whether all things are clearly written or not. Concert is one, or that is journal has their own, we do not use these here. Often continuous, these old methods, on failure methods, complex method, whatever methods do follow in your research, that should be clearly mentioned or not, whether it is clearly refer or not. All the things should you have to evaluate before going to submit your paper in articles. So then material method section is done. After that what happen? You are going to the result sections. So in result section, after data analysis, after the collection of data, you have to analysis the data. After that, whatever the result you have to find found in your research, that should be mentioned in the result sections. Not analysis, only result section. You have to just clearly mention the results, that what do you look for, what should be there and what should not be there. You have to mention all the things. If you are looking for some particular expectation, and you are going to be do the research for that particular expectation, or your to prove some particular hypothesis, then what should include, what should not be there, all things are be included in these sections. Often read selectively, strategically, figure looked, and most of the even they are first things reviewers suggested the eliminating, because lot of things are there which can be eliminated while you are writing the results. So this is the core of the paper, because core of the not the paper, core of your research, because whatever you find for doing the main finding of your research, that may be either 6 months, 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, the main result which is the core of this research paper. The result are not represent properly, or it having some ambiguity, or it having some errors, then whole research should be gone void. So you have to clear and be concise and be focused on your result of your these sections. So what results should be shown? So there are so many results which can be noted while carrying out the research. So all results or all things cannot be shown in the result section, particularly for the publishing, or particularly for the written of a particularly for a research paper. But all results, all documentations, every detail should be clearly mentioned in your research thesis or in your research report. But in your writing research paper, you should not mention all the things. The important things from that are can be very much important, and that should be only included in the research paper. So the result are selected, well designed data and findings, digested data and findings. That means the good results which having clearly stated your research questions and clarified your doubt, and whichever the main findings results, that are only you have to show in the result sections. Relatively direct purpose to the paper, organized according to purposes and identical words. So if you are doing for example for water analysis or water pollution analysis, if you are carrying out 10 to 15 parameter test, and if you are finding some results, so if you are, you have to write in a proper way of format. according to purpose of the result or according to the questions, according to the research questions, you have to first write about the physical property, then chemical property, then biological properties. If you are going to haphazardly written haphazardly, or after giving writing some biological then come to physicals, then these are not in a proper way. For example, if you are written if you are doing analysis for the diesel oxygen and BOD COD, so which is come first? Diesel oxygen result is you have to show first, then BOD, then COD. You cannot show the result of COD first or diesel oxygen is last. So in that, this is a, you have to write a proper way from or organized way of your result from one section to head to another sections. So no interpretations here. You just highlighted the result only because the result section, but somehow we are making some we are combining result and discussion section in one section. Then in that case you are have to make interpret. But whenever if there is a result is a different sections, you just shown the results as a shown results the graph or tabular form, or no interpretations are there. So no repetition of text, table and figures. So same things cannot be repeat twice, thrice. So only single times you can put the results, whether in graphs or tables or figures or in the text also. So these are the things maybe focus part of the truth, not the whole truth, because the result is the simple findings of your research, but it is not the whole truth, it is the part of the truth. Because after result we have to make comparison, to do so many things to analysis the, making comparisons with the previous results, making interpretations, making testing with some hypothesis. These are comes in discussion sections. So it is only the part of the truth which is you just get out of the finding of the result in your research. Then theme, which is accuracy, brevity and clarity. So these things are should be clearly mentioned. You should not use the word that I have tested the diesel oxygen content of the water and it may be found that 4.8 to 5.8. You should not use like the word, because in that word you use it should be or it may be found. This type of wording you should not be used, because it may be found, that means you are not confident enough to your results. So in that type of things you should not be right in your result sections. Be clear, be able to show your results, whatever it is, whatever may be you are done, it is not correct or not, it is good or bad. You should clearly notice in your result, or clearly write that in result sections with great accuracy, and error should be minimum. Then future section, responsibility of the raw data for reanalysis. This is the very most important part of your result sections, because you once publish the data in a research paper and someone after your publications, you publication mean you claim that the results are original data and this is very much good, hold the result goods. But when someone is reanalysis the data and replicate reproducible your result, then same conditions, then the result should not be get like that, your result should not be match your result. In that case your research may be having ambiguity, or you are cheating some things, or if you may influenced by some other biasness. So at that time your research is not a good research. So that may be cancelled, that may not be read by the future readers, that may not be belonging to the future's researcher. So at for this you have to be very clear, concise and error free, with great accuracy of your result that you should keep in your mind. Then whenever you completed the written part of the result section, again as a reader you have to re-evaluate or evaluate your data, or evaluate your whatever you have written in your result sections. What are these things? You have to make questions whether the data are represented convincingly support conclusions, or logical process of all the data, results stated accurately or not, After results you have to retain the discussion and conclusion session, because in somehow I have seen that in conclusion session it is written as the diesel oxygen of the particular water body is found to be 4.8. In conclusion section it is written, but in this result section it is not 4.8, it should be 4.9. So that should be not conflict. It is 4.8, then in main result section there should be 4.8 and conclusion section should be 4.8. It should not be mismatched from the main data and your conclusion data, because it is maybe some printing error or maybe some nearly equal value, but the exactly same should be written clearly, so that you have to check it. And the logical prices all there, whatever your results or findings or whatever the finding you are going to claim in your result section, that should be logical. It should not be illogical. Remember, whatever you are reading, what are the characteristics of good research, all are applicable here. So keeping in all this mind, you have to write these sections and evaluate. The evaluation purpose of this evaluation is what? You just rechecking whether whatever you have written is good or not. Whatever you written, that should be clearly attractive or clearly communicate to the scientific community or not. That's you have to be, that decreases the if you are evaluate these things, that increases the chance of get published more quickly and decreases the chance of the rejection. So this is the main thing why we are evaluating every time for whenever we are complete writing this every sections. Are these there are appropriate expressions or uncertainty are there, because whenever we are making results, we also always keep that the error level on certainty level. This is one also main things that should be included in these result sections. If you do not mention the uncertainty, having some types of error is there, so better to just claim the uncertainty levels or the level of error. For example, the temperature is 25.7 degree. So if it is 25.7 degree, because whenever somebody is reproduce your temperatures at that same condition, you might be get 25.75. That is 0.5 that can be deviate from your result. So if you are mentioned that in your result section, that is temperature is 0. Sorry, what is the temperature that may be a uncertainty level of 0.05 plus minus, that is the main uncertainty level you have to mention in your result section. Then do negative if reflect the under power play study. So this also you have to mention. If you are calculating your result in a particular conditions, for example, if you are measuring temperature at particular pressures or particular weather or particular seasons, you do not forget to mention all these things. So clearly mentions what are the negative effect, or it may be called as that what is the variable that is called in direct variable, indirect variable, and intraneous variable. Intraneous variable, we already discussed what is sorry, extraneous variable. The variable or the things that are not a part of the study, but that may affect at the time of your result or time of your performing the research. So you should clearly mention all these aspects of your study in the result sections. Then are the method mixed with your results? So you have to clearly mention whether the method is clear or not, if you with align with your result or not. So all the things should clearly, you have to clearly write in these sections. So next is after result sections we are going to going for discussion. So in discussion sections you are making some interpretations of your results. What are your findings? You have to make some interpret, or you have to interpret your findings in your uh, discussion section. So in discussion section you have to what are your findings, and you have to just so what, and so who cares, that is the important points you have to mention here. So what will be the after getting your results, what is the things you have to just interpret your results in the discussion sections. Then failure, if the remind this the whatever you finish in discussion sections, so who is the wonder, so what, this is all aspects of your interpretations you have to make a separate discussion in every field, so that the reader that has to be very clear on while reading these things. Next is what do results means. In result sections we are completing the results things. So what do you think, that also you have to mention interpretations, relationship among the results, generalizations and theoretical implications. All the things you have to mention in the discussion section. So whatever you are finding in your result sections, just going to your back, that means in your assumptions or hypothesis sections, before starting your research experiment, you make an hypothesis that this may be the reason for your solutions or maybe the reason for your questions. Then just relate that hypothesis to your result, then make some interpretations and the relationship between your results and that research related questions. Also you have to make a generalizations of the previously knowledges, previously having knowledges with, or make comparisons your theoretical results along with some previously published research articles or research data. What is the improvement or what is the efficiency which, or whether why your result will be good enough from the previous study. All the things you have to clearly mention in your result sorry discussion sections. So again, what do you results means, you have to clearly explain this, how do they relate to your knowledge, all the things you have to explain, just skip this one. Then suggested outlines, summary findings, whether it is controversial, if it is controversial or not, or agree with your hypothesis or agree with your some findings. What are the principal findings? Means if you are finding some new things, if you are making some new types of theory or new types of fundamental questions having answers according to you, then you have to just interpret all the things. Also you used here some limitations. What are the limitations of your results, what is the limitation of your findings, you have to mention all the things. So after that you have write the next section, that is called conclusions. Here the conclusion is a separate part, but it includes in the discussion section, after the discussion sections, which inference of your results and whatever your findings in short form, and what are the recommendations, what should be done if your solutions or if your questions or if you find some causes of your particular solution, then you have to make a recommendation, all the things including the conclusion sections. Then after that evaluate your conclusions as a discussion sections, because every stage after writing your the part, you have to re-evaluate yourselves. So whether it is a good, whether interpretation is good or not, whether interference is also by supported by the result or not, whether it is speculations or whether it is a clear cut discussions, or whether it is a note, whether it is some suggestions, whether it is a result is presented in the result section, whatever you discuss that is clearly refer or not, all the things should be mentioned, or also should be recheck or evaluate yourself to get a better writing. After that discussion we have to write some reference, where can I verify claim arguments or whatever you are make citations that can be clearly mentioned in reference section. In reference section it is already yeah, already known why the numbering, or there are different format for reference sections. We already studied different reference tool or citation tool, for example that Mendeley was EndNote etc. So whenever you write a research paper, at least you have to cite 30 previously reviewed literature, must at least, or less of 30 is insufficient. So 30 citation is must in every research paper. Not 30 is the maximum or 30 is the limit. You have to not you have to exist from 30 also, but one number 30 is the minimum citations, very good citation number of citations. So it is contextual, or that is cited accurately, or this for every research paper their citation format is different, whether it is good cited or it is comparison, all you to mention. Then make take a summary or look overall your written whatever you write from your title section to the reference sections, that is you have to it whether it is good for scientific publications or other type of comparative or whether review type of thing. So you have to make all this re-verify and make a summary. This is not included in this paper, but make all the things checked before you are going to publish in a paper. So this is all about your things in whatever you are going to publish in a research paper, or the main organization of research paper, that is very much important. Okay, so this that's all about today's class. If you have any doubt, then you can ask, otherwise we may conclude here. Any question from anyone? No. Okay, so we just conclude here.